Hey ladies and gentlemen, this is HD, I'm your broadcaster, and I'm here to bring you guys the second game from the grand finals of Assembly Winter, ASUS ROG of course, and down in the bottom left hand corner we have the blue Terran. It is TSL Polt. The map is GSL Daybreak, and on the top right hand corner we have the red Zerg. It is Millennium Stephano, and he is the one who was able to claim that crucial first victory in this grand finals matchup. Now remember, this is a best of 5, so the first to 3 wins will take home that coveted first place trophy and of course the $10,000. The second place winner will have to take home a consolation prize that is not that small. It is $6,000. So obviously both these players playing for keeps here, but they've made it so far already, and they know they don't want to lose, so they're going to give it their all. Obviously good friends here, as they've given each other some GG, GL, HFs, have fun my friend. And Stephano, like I said before, taking the first victory in this set, which is so important. It relieves a lot of stress and pressure off your shoulders, because before these finals really occur, you're always thinking to yourself, and I speak from first-hand experience as I've played in tournaments before, you know, I've asked myself, can I actually beat this guy? Or is he just going to absolutely crush me? Does he have some kind of weird plan up his sleeve that I'm not used to? Is he just going to cheese me? You know, all these things are swirling in your head, and if you take that first victory, it further implants that seed of doubt in your opponent that they cannot maintain a macro game against you. And it also, of course, solidifies your confidence in your own game. And so a lot of things going here for the Zerg player Stephano, hailing from France, for Europe overall, versus Korea here. And if Stephano can win, he once again solidifies his throne in the top tier elite StarCraft 2 players, and it no longer revolves only around Korea as a little small satellite out there. It actually encompasses the entire globe. So Stephano here is not only fighting for himself and for France, but also for the entire international scene. And speaking of the international scene and the Korean scene of this map, GSL Daybreak, 40% win rate for Terran versus Zerg, so it does not bode well for Polt at all. That's a very, very low win rate, and if you look at it from an international scene, it's actually a little bit better, 47-ish%. So overall, not a good map for Terran historically, which is a little surprising to me. I do feel like this is a map where the tanks can really play well in the narrow choke points, but I suppose it also is a good map for Zerg because you can expand so rapidly on your side. It's kind of like having an East versus West Coast thing, where Stephano, of course, coming from the East and Polt coming from the West. Polt also bringing in a bunker here, and we've seen this move before, but there is a lot of drones there, and I don't think the bunker is going to be able to come up, as 2 drones go after the Marine on the left, and 2 drones stay on the SCV. Very good split control right there. If you had left all your drones on the Marine would have just ran away, and the SCV would have finished the bunker. If you leave all your drones on the SCV, then the Marines would kill off a drone or 2, so that was very good control, and now the Zerglings are out. The SCV has gone down, and so the bunker would most likely be cancelled at this point, unless he can get a drone kill. He does get a drone kill, so he kind of ekes out, getting very excited there, he kind of ekes out a small victory right there, and apologize, there is a production tab. A lot of people saying I should try to leave it up for the opening build order, so there it is. And yeah, he does eke out that small victory in terms of getting that drone. It's more of a moral victory, but when you look at the units lost tab, obviously he's lost a lot more. The investment in the bunker, which was canceled, but the SCV and the 2 Marines there, really costly, and the Zerg not losing much at all, just a drone. And we do have another command center coming up inside the main, which is of course to be expected. The Terran always has to expand here to keep up with the rapidly expanding Zerg. They have to stay at least a base behind, and that's at least. The more bases the Terran has, obviously the better, and Polt knows that. He's also scouting out across the map with 2 Hellions on, because it is important for Terrans to figure out, is the Zerg, you know, you never know. Nowadays a lot of Zergs are cheesing. One Zerg player that really brought it to prominence is Lenok, and so we do have a Roachhorn on the way as well, so maybe perhaps we will see something coming out here from Stephano that is aggressive. 2 Hellions at the front door, and they will just, you know, put a little 3rd degree burn on that queen, but nothing too serious. Is it 3rd degree that's more serious, or is it 1st degree? I never knew. Someone in the comments will have to let me know. The Zerglings here getting ready to surround and pounce, really. those Hellions might want to be careful. There is definitely a little bit of a Zergling trap waiting for them on the high ground, and I don't think they're going to be able to make it up here. They will be able to make it up. I'm surprised there wasn't more Zerglings. There was just 3. But now the Roaches are out, and that's the beauty of having the Hellions scout for you, because now he knows, if he doesn't know before, I mean, obviously there was a Roach Horn at the natural. He knows that there is a lot of Roaches on the way. And in fact, a lot of Zerglings to boot on that production tab as well. So perhaps Stephano is going to go, and I'm going to say it. Actually, you know what? I won't. I'm going to say Stephano is going to go and put all of his chips in the middle of the table. He's going to, a little revised version of the all-in that HD should never say. But anyways, it is going to be a lot of forces coming out across the map here. And 5 Hellions still kind of harassing at the front door, so Polt knows that if he can hold off the frontal engagement, then he can apply a lot of pressure with these Hellions, and of course he forces Stephano to keep some forces at home, and this is so brilliant. This is very, very smart. And he has actually been able to roast up almost all the Zerglings. Meanwhile, at the front door, the Roaches there, they are there, but the Marauders have already come out. And Stephano's little ploy here, I don't think, is going to play very well at all. He's still got to manage these Hellions at home. Cannot reinforce his attack with more Zerglings because the Hellions are here. Has to micro abroad as well as at home, and that is not going to bode well as the Marauders deal their crushing concussive shells to the Roaches. They actually don't have concussive shells yet. Actually, the Roaches were able to make it in past the Supply Depot wall, but it's no threat as, you know, Polt realizes, hey, I've got this under control. I've got enough Marauders to clean it up. Even working on his macro here as he switches his buildings around. And abroad, it looks like those Hellions did go down to the Zerglings. So Stephano cleans up his front door at the same time that Polt does the same. And so both players really on the same foot here. I don't really know if I could give the edge to anybody. Stephano claiming the 3rd hatchery here. The Terran player has not yet. He's just now building it inside the main. So I definitely feel like it is a very close game right now. Both players trying to go for a little bit of an aggression, Neither side really working out. And now over on Stephano's main, he is rapidly researching the weapons and the melee, and that's very, very important. Melee and carapace. That's very, very important because Stephano loves his upgrades. He is the one who's really made it popular to go for mass upgrades. Of course, Destiny was the one who kind of pioneered it, but Stephano was the one who made it work at the high level. And he's just kind of this player that loves mass upgrading his Zerglings and then just flooding with an absolute monstrous amount of Zerglings. I was about to say the wrong word there. Monstrous amount of Zerglings, and just able to crush the Terran opponent with the absolute definition of the swarm. Polt here moving out with a couple of Marines and Marauders, and the longer I feel like that Stephano's allowed to build up this mass Zergling army, the harder it really becomes to deal with it. Even if you have tons of tanks and Marines and all your forces all grouped up and ready to go, that mass Zergling army, it just seems like Stephano knows when to attack and knows how to flank so well. He's practiced it so many times that he's become basically the perfect Zergling general. So I don't know, Polt is going to make an attack right here, and we'll see if this is going to work at all. He does have an access point into the 3rd on Daybreak, but the Zerglings are there, and look at how many Zerglings are ready to go, and the armor upgrade is going to finish. That's huge. And the Zerglings are absolutely going to eat these Marines and Marauders for breakfast. Of course, Polt is going to be able to pull away. And those 2 medevacs coming in the clutch, as they will be able to save it. That's why whenever you attack, you always want to bring a couple of medevacs with you just in case something like that happens. At the very least, he did get a scout off, and he didn't really lose that much, just a Marine. So a Marine scout to see exactly what build Stephano is going for, and now he doesn't have to fear anything like Mutalisks or Banelings. Oh, I guess he can still worry about Banelings, but he doesn't have to worry about Mutalisks. And so that's why we don't see any missile turrets coming up inside any of his bases at all. And it looks like he's going to go ahead and control the Xel'Naga Tower, outlooking his natural expansion and potentially his 3rd here. As he brings some Marines over here, there are some Zerglings waiting to go, but they are in hold position, and of course, because of that, they will go down on the way out. As Polt picks up a small victory, he's got to bring this command center over to the 3rd and begin the mining process right now to keep up with the Zerg economy. He's going to catch these Zerglings as they were falling back. Nice play by Polt, anticipating the route as the Zerglings would evacuate and takes him out. And right now the supply is at 113, dead even, which is a bit of a surprise to me. Usually Stephano would be ahead at this point, but it does make some sense. If you're going for a mass Zergling build, you're not going to have higher supply than your opponent because Zerglings only cost half a supply. You have to remember that. So for a Zerg player to go for this mass Zergling build, usually they're not going to have more supply than their opponent. And so even though it is dead even right now, I do feel like Stephano still has a very large and imminent threat on the field. And he is, of course, going to go ahead and expand to the fourth down to the bottom right-hand corner. Good golly, look at these Zerglings. They're about to finish their 2-2. The Marines are not even done yet with 1-1. That's dangerous for Polt. And as things continue to go on here, I really fear for Polt's life because Stephano is just going to become this absolute giant blob that's going to be unstoppable, and the blob, of course, being fueled by the Zerglings, and soon maybe we're going to have some hive units coming out as well. There is a small patrol army here that might get caught unaware, but there are more Marines back at the third, and that is going to keep the Marines safe. So that was a close call right there. Anytime a Terran player at this phase of the game loses a pack of his Marines and Marauders and doesn't deal significant damage with that, if he just gives it away, it's such a critical blow to the Terran. And Polt knows that. It's very risky to be moving on the field right now, and that's why he's leaving 2 medevacs with the ground units. So if the Zerglings make an attack, he can easily evacuate them and bring them home safely. So it's very smart of Polt right now. Adding on more barracks back at home as well, totaling, let's see, 6 barracks plus about 6 barracks actually, and some of them with reactors, some of them with tech labs. The Zerg army still continuing to build up. He is on 4 bases right now, and it is a full-scale macro war at this point. Hive tech is about to finish up, and infestors are on the way, so we are moving into the Zergling infestor stage. And pretty soon I would imagine we're going to have maybe Brute Lords or Ultras. I would imagine Ultras though, because they share the upgrade with Zerglings so easily. Meanwhile, we also have Marauders on the way with concussive shells, and of course Polt realizing that Marauders are the counter to Ultras cost-wise. So he's starting to make a lot of Marauders right now, anticipating the all-out confrontation that is going to definitely happen. This is not some type of peace game. This is not where, you know, diplomats go around and, you know, they negotiate a peace treaty or anything like that. This is all-out warfare, and this is a scenario where you might even have some nuclear weapons dropping down. Damn it. So keep your eyes open, because at any moment absolute chaos can occur, and it looks like Polt's army here is going to get caught just a little bit off guard, but only 1 Marine going down there. So once again, Polt keeps his army alive. And man, this Zergling army, man, it's at 157 Zerglings. It was 157, it's 155 right now. Wow, that's incredible how many Zerglings Stephano has right now. If Zerglings took 1 supply apiece, he would almost be maxed out purely on Zerglings. And here we go, the Zerglings burrowing. I don't know why, but where are they going now? They're actually going to run into the Terran base. A little risky here, but if you can pick off these 2 tanks, it might be worth it. Remember, Zerglings are very cheap, and he picks off 1 tank. I don't know if that's going to be worth it for all the Zerglings that died. Meanwhile, oh my god, those 2 medevacs absolutely getting denied. And once again, it is a rejection hotline 101. Those 2 medevacs going nowhere, and these Marines and tanks moving out of the bottom right, and we are having the first declaration of war, I assume, as the chaos begins to ensue, as both sides going to all-out battle. I don't know why these Zerglings are burrowed right outside the supply depot. That is so strange. But it looks like Polt has somehow found himself in a position in the bottom corner here. This is a great little valley for him, I guess, as he has kind of, his forces have choked off a little bit, but it looks like Stephano runs in there and his forces get absolutely evaporated. So yeah, this is a good position for Polt. I was going to say there are 3 areas where the Zerg can flood in, but they are choked off every single area as a ramp. So, and a choke point. So that was a very good engagement there for Polt, who cleans up the Zerg army and now is beginning to threaten the hatchery in the bottom right-hand corner. 3 Ultras mobbed that Marine down. Just a little bit stupid of that Marine for not listening to orders, I guess. And the Zerglings are still chilling at the supply depot. They are definitely relaying a lot of important information back home. Absolutely reconnaissance Zerglings at this point. And here comes Stephano coming in with the infested Terrans and the Zerglings and the Ultras. It looks like he is going to spawn the infested Terrans on the tank, which is really smart. But the Ultras are not able to defeat the Marines because they were so spread out, and Ultras really shine when everything is pumped up because they do splash damage. But if they're not, if the enemy forces are not clumped up, those huge Ultra Claws, they are melee range, and they're not going to be able to, you know, attack something 20 feet to the right of them and 20 feet to the left of them. And unfortunately, because of that, Polt just won that battle. Now he's a little bit getting too aggressive, I feel like, coming up onto that creep. He should just hold his position and continue to reinforce it. Now the Ultras are up amongst the tanks, and Stephano could actually clean up this area. No, he will not. Too much tank and Marauder firepower for these bad boys. And those Ultra carcasses lie on the ground behind their brothers that have fallen in that combat zone. Stephano now, it would be a great idea to get some more infestors out, I feel like, because that's how you combat the Marines and Marauders spreading around. You fungal it, and then the Ultras can do their maximum splash damage. So that's what Stephano should be trying to do right now, and he's bringing in this little hidden infester. Wonder what he's going to do with this guy. He's actually going to spawn some infested Terrans, but he actually decided not to run in there because he saw how much that area has been reinforced, and now he is going to retreat with his drones, trying to get as many of them home safely as possible. Has a new hatchery at the center of the map, but so does Polt, who's made it into a planetary fortress. Stephano now realizing his days are numbered. He hasn't been able to extract maximum value for his, you know, Zergling build. I really feel like he made all these Zerglings in the mid game, which is great, but he never made a huge counterattack play, which is required if you're going to go for this kind of mass Zergling strategy. So now he is in trouble, but he is going to be able to clean up the tank army here, flooding in from all three directions and causing absolute disarray inside the Terran lines. Great fungal growth from Stephano as well. He gets another fungal there on those Marines. They are pretty much doomed for, and I don't think he's going to be able to, as fast as the infestors are, the Marines and Marauders can stem away. Actually don't have enough health to stem. The medevacs are going to come back and reinforce and regenerate the bio's HP there. So that patrol pretty much counting their blessings because they've just barely made it out alive, and they're going to join the brothers there of their army. Polt trying to reinforce the area next to the planetary fortress, knowing that this is going to be a focal point. Also expanding down here too. That I think is a little risky. I'm actually more of a fan of expanding over here to the top left, which, okay, if you can expand to both, then that makes sense. Oh no, Stephano coming in a bad position there. The Terran army was there waiting. It was a trap, and taking tons of damage, losing an infestor. Some of his forces taking huge damage as well, and now there are two medevacs about to fly their way into the main. There's no infestors here. Stephano could be in a lot of trouble. Tons of Marauders dropping out, so Polt is going to go for a building snipe here. What building remains to be seen. I don't think he's going to be able to do it, though, because there's too many Zerglings here. Meanwhile, another huge confrontation at the Zerg's expansion. There are too many tanks here, though, and the firepower from those tanks is absolutely phenomenal. Just rushing blows being dealt to the Ultralisks, and the hatchery, no chance in hell. Those two medevacs were forced to run away as well, as those Marauders were killed off, but this is such a back and forth game. Stephano has to kill off this planetary fortress. This is his rightful expansion by the mapmakers' terms, and he was able to kill it off, so he should be able to get an expansion there pretty soon here. But look at how many tanks are rolling down to the south. I don't know what Stephano can do when it comes to a head-on collision with this army and this army. This map, I'm going to reiterate, there's too many choke points, I feel like, and Stephano, if he's going to win this out, he's got to flank. He's got to come from back here, and he's got to come from the front, and he knows that. But he's not preparing his forces. He's actually going to let the forces get down to the creep and then engage. Not a bad strategy, but then the hatchery takes some damage, and now he has to come in to fight. He's also coming in with Ultras in the back, and is he going to be able to do any damage at all? I don't think so. Too many Marines and tanks in the background there. The infested Terran sounds beginning to spit out at the infestors, trying to absorb some more of that tank firepower. Can Stephano win out here or not? He's flooding in with the Zerglings. The last Ultra is barely alive. It has gone down, but the reinforcements are coming in from Polt, and Polt will reinforce this high ground position, which is just an arm's length away from the middle hatchery, and that was a huge battle loss for Stephano. I don't think he's going to be able to last much longer. It's an absolute war of attrition, and Stephano cannot continue to keep up. It's just too taxing. Polt is too damn good of a Terran player, and I think it's going to tie up here, ladies and gentlemen, unless Stephano can pull a rabbit out of the hat. He really doesn't have that many forces, though. That's the problem. 120 supply under 163. Right now struggling to make Ultras and Zerglings. I think that hatchery might just go down as well. Oh man, if Stephano loses this one, that's going to be all she wrote, I think, and Polt takes it down. Polt takes down that hatchery. Well done by the Terran Commander Polt. Couldn't ask for anything better there. Love the positioning on the siege tanks as well, man. That's just very smart placement. Good and spread out, unlike the last game when everything was kind of clumped up and gift wrapped. This time he's not making the same mistake, not repeating his old follies. He's also now going to enforce his position with a planetary fortress. And even getting Terran vehicle plating here, as I guess he's maxed out weapons. So here we go. This could be the last battle for Stephano. He gets a good fungal growth off. A lot of ultras coming in as well. Can he clean up or not? I don't think so. Too many Marines and Marauders coming out. And the M&M squads, they're just too beefy, man. 3 weapons, 3 armor. Comtat's beginning to come down to take out the creep tumors, which is of course going to cut off the super highway of the Zerg, making it therefore that much difficult to reinforce and protect this hatchery in the bottom right hand corner. Some fungal growths coming out of those infested cannons, but it's just, it's like the last dying hurrah, and Stephano calls congrats. So that is it. Polt takes a W. And it is now tied up at 1-1 apiece. This is the grand finals of Assembly Winter ASUS ROG. I am so freaking excited right now, guys. We're going to have Game 3 coming out next. And this is really, really close. Each of these games have been down to the wire. I can't wait to see what happens in Game 3. Hope you guys stay tuned. And this is HD signing out.